Okay, sorry about that. I had to set up so I didn't have this big blocky black square on my screen. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting out as a fresh player on a server where I do not know anybody. I believe it's a relatively busy server, which means people will probably be relatively hostile. I'm going to show you how I like to play. I always play solo. I had some bad experiences being in other people's clans and inviting people into my clan. I typically start off in the jungle, so that's where you're going to get to see me kind of trekking to from the get. I'm going to go with a male. I'm sure you'd all prefer I go as a female, but I'm not sure how YouTube feels about the tatas, so here we go. Race. I always go Darfari. That way I don't have to feel bad about eating human flesh in the beginning before I can start getting something better to eat. Religion. I always go set. There's plenty of food to get, and I'd rather have some protection from poison early in game because it's more often than not it's going to end up killing me. So, and also the poison arrows are helpful for when you're occasionally dealing with world bosses.
The gods are watching.
Cut me down, please. The gods are watching.
Cut me down. The gods are watching. During the year of the Cobra, a prisoner captured by unknown means was transported into the exiled lands, crucified, and left to die for crimes that they may or may not have committed. Death comes swiftly on black wings, until fate intervenes.
Thirsty, dead man? Shall I cut you down from that corpse tree?
Conan looks like a monkey to me.
You civilized men are soft. Your lives are not nailed to your spines. Where I come from, we kill our enemies in battle. We don't leave them in the desert to die like dogs. So, you live again, dead man. This land does not love men. You are marked. You cannot cross the ghost fence wearing that. It might have been kinder to leave you on the cross. Live, love, burn with life, slay and survive. We will meet again, dead man.
Okay, so basically this first bit's probably just going to be me trying to hit as many journey feats as I can as quick as possible while I they set me up far away. Well, I make the long trip over to where I like to be in the jungle. They always drop you a water skin right here. Listen to letter.
Past. There are others here, slaves, bandits and cannibals, exiles from lands I've never heard of. Some of them try to scrape a life from the wasteland, scrabbling the rocks and sand from their own place. I cannot go on. The life that I left behind haunts me. The sun of the glittering spires of Belverus has forever denied me. The smell of my daughter's hair. I will pass the ghost fence, and this cursed land will finally end me. To whoever reads this note, I leave the last of my water and this message. Stranger, you have my pity. You do not know how cursed you truly are.
Alright, so the first thing I like to do, you know, and this is pretty much everyone that plays, you're going to want to run around, pick up as much of this garbage as you can, craft yourself some terribly uncomfortable, itchy garments, get the sticks, rocks, and I still like to collect quite a bit more fiber because I'm going to need to make some twine. Which, on a side note, is why I don't like being in other people's clans, because it seems to me there's some uppity clan leader that always wants you to go out and collect more of this, do more of that, and I don't know. I'd rather just play by myself, which can be a little bit tough at times because you do end up with people that are just inherently violent. Well, violent. You know, they wanna pick fights all the time. So part of the fun of it for me is trying to keep the peace in a server where everyone is pretty much out to get you, and then you end up being in the middle of everybody's wars. And while they're over there fighting, you're sneaking around taking their brimstone and iron. You know, hey, whatever. First thing I always want to make is a hatchet. This poor fella.
Gods curse this sandstorm.
He got killed while trying to
forced to take refuge before the wind scoured the skin from our faces. There is something in the storm. Beasts. We hear the skittering of their paws outside the ruins, and their howls mingling with the screaming winds. The men are scared. I've put them to work crafting rudimentary weapons and torches.
It's actually... I can't get this guy to quit talking, but anyway. It's actually not a private server, it's official. It's on PS4, it's official 3605. Okay, so now I'm going to start making some twine. I usually want to make a bedroll. And, of course, a sword. And if I've got enough... So I'm going to need to make myself a stove. And we're going to want to make a chest. Now, the main reason that I take the sword first is because it's going to be the first it's going to be the first feat that you have access to for a weapon. I don't personally prefer the sword. I've always played as a spear carrier, but being that I'm just starting out, I'll probably go with daggers. They're a little more safe. They allow you to do some damage and keep your distance. must have upped. They must have upped the volatile gland drop rate. Man, I guess that's kind of nice. Okay, so always, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Anyone watching this may be pretty familiar with the game, but I like to, anytime I'm running by water, pick it up, drink some, fill your flask. Let's see, get some hide. Okay. So, oh, phenomenal. Apparently I ate some raw food on accident. It's important to I suppose I should have known better. Always keep raw meat off your wheel, because you're gonna end up accidentally eating it more often than not. Of course, now I'm stuck with food poisoning, which won't necessarily kill me, but I also won't be able to heal as long as I have it. Hear one of these. I don't know what they call them, mutants. Oh, there he is. I like to get a decent bit of hide. I'll typically make a pile of bedrolls, especially for the first run, because I'm gonna end up wanting to drop one every so often just in case I get killed. Also, I'll make a couple extra water skins. See if we've got access to daggers. There they are. Okay. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on this. I run an encumbrance build pretty much all of the time. I like to be able to not get weighed down, especially as a solo player. I've got a lot of stuff to haul all over the place. I'm gonna, right off the get, I'll probably get like the first... I got 10 in encumbrance now, so I can actually move some stuff. I can grab a decent bit while I'm on my way to where I want to set up camp. Strength, I'm gonna get to 10 in strength just so that I can get thuggery, because we're gonna start wanting to take crafting thralls pretty quickly. Again, it helps if you're a solo player, because if you got thralls, it will cut down on the amount of materials you need to craft things. It's less stuff that you have to collect all by yourself. Grit is a necessity. I'll probably get at least the first one, or the The first perk in grit, because I'm going to want to be able to climb. Get to where I can't get right now. And agility, obviously, so that I can get some sprinting. So once I've got all those up where I want them, I'm gonna pump encumbrance until I can't hit anymore. I'll probably sport regular light or medium armor to start off with, because that'll give me an encumbrance boost, and that way I can run my regular speed, even if I'm carrying more than I should be. Sorry, I don't have as much personality as some of the other guys you might see on YouTube. Luckily, there's probably not too many people watching me.
You picked the wrong fight! Supposed to be like this.
And I typically like to kill quite a few guys. Anyone I may run into on my way there. It's a nice little bit of experience, and also you've got the opportunity to maybe get, well, usually I like to look for a shield, that way I can get the get that journey part finished by using the shield to block an attack. So once I get here to some relative safety, I'll show you where I'm planning on heading to. I am going to try to get right over here, assuming no one's holed up in the old ruin that I usually like to set my first base up in. Which I actually, maybe it takes a while for them to show up on the map. I don't really see that many tier 3 altars anywhere, so maybe this place isn't as busy as I would hope. I can check, I guess. There's not a lot of people on here. Hopefully they all speak English. Well, okay, that sounded bad. It's okay if they don't speak English, but it makes life easier when you're trying to talk someone down from basically killing you and taking everything you've got. These volatile glands are dropping like crazy on here. Thanks for the pat on the back. And as you can probably see, you know, a lot of people complain about this game, saying that it's too buggy and this and that, but to be honest with you, I'm okay with it. You know, it's a relatively immersive environment. You can, I don't know, I get into it. And of course now I will warn anybody, well, there's, what, one, maybe two people watching. I'll warn you, as a solo player, I have a habit of taking full advantage of anything I can cheese, any kind of, I won't call them exploits, but any type of game mechanic I can take full advantage of. Like, I don't have a problem trapping a boss and killing it with poison arrows so it can't attack me back. You know. Like I say, usually, at least from my experience, most people on servers aren't gonna be the nicest. Now, my old server, which was PlayStation 3524, that's actually, I've been on that server since the game came out, and everybody is pretty amazing there. There's always wars over stuff, but it's always been relatively peaceful. I like to think it's because I'm always the one that ends up sticking around even after everybody gets bored and leaves. There's someone there to tell the stories of the old clans and how they destroyed each other, and then everybody had nothing. Because I mean, really, and the whole point of this playthrough, I guess, is that I'm gonna try to do what I've never actually done, which is get through everything, maybe give everyone a little better idea of what the story's about, and in the end get my bracelet off and walk out. Because, you know, I've seen people do it in short clips, but I never really see anyone do a full walkthrough from beginning of end, escaping the exiled lands, which I think, I guess if you're playing solo, that's the whole point. Like if you're playing on just by yourself, not actually on a online server. But, you know, part of the excitement is being on a server where everyone can kill you and destroy your base, and, you know, I guess it's the exiled lands. You have to rebuild. So, anyway, again, you know, I'm not gonna edit this. This is just me playing, doing it how I've always done it, and you're gonna get to watch every boring bit of it, including me stopping to cook meat. We've got a long way to go. Speaking of which, I want a torch. It's good. Also, I know that one of the journey steps involves talking to somebody. So here we go. Here's Arcos the Wanderer.
A new one, eh?
I think usually the first guy that a lot of us end up meeting.
Like I'm Arcos. Once a sailor, now a wanderer.
Good. So yeah, like I say, I like to hit some of these exile camps, put some yeah, I tend to like to take breaks. Usually I'll build myself a giant thick-walled tomb and just log in every once in a while. That way when I come back I don't end up having to... Oh, I might have got myself into...
God, take you!
Shit. There were more guys there than I thought. And again, this is why I tend to... it's been a long time since I've actually played as a new character, but this is part of the reason I like to have the daggers, is because when you maybe get yourself into a bit of a mess, all you got to do is poke at people and then get the heck out of there. I'll let them bleed out, you know. Yeah, sometimes they have something useful, and then other times they don't. Where'd they all go? While I'm thinking about it, get some of my bedrolls set up. That is one nice thing about playing on a relatively well-populated server, is you can find quite a few map rooms all over the place. I don't really fully understand why there would be one here. Hello, TFI. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These sound like maybe some guys that I'm gonna... or at least one guy that I'm gonna end up having to deal with, especially once they see that you're starting to base up and you're actually starting to make some progress. People start getting nervous, you know. I've personally never been the type to have a stockpile of bombs. I'll usually only end up going after people if they come after me, and it's usually pretty swift. I just want to... I just want to knock them down enough that they can't come after me anymore. Let's see. Take you, put you there. I want to get some bark. There you go. Ooh, buddy. Preferably, by the time I get where I'm going, I'd have enough bark that I can set up a tannery. But we'll see. I don't feel like beating every tree on my way there. Has always kind of been my problem with the daggers, is I don't... Some things, alligators and typically spiders, their hitboxes are so small and low to the ground that the daggers a lot of times have trouble hitting them, which was why I initially ended up switching to spears, which You know, the problem with spears though is they eat up tons of stamina. So yeah, I mean, later on in game you're gonna end up having more stamina, which is of course helpful. But in the beginning, the daggers are nice because they use almost none, and you get the advantage of doing tons of bleed damage. Some aloe. We'll probably be able to make a fireball cauldron by the time I get where I'm going. Yeah, man, I hope it's not took. Although, you know, I guess that's the nature of the beast. Your favorite spots aren't always going to be wide open. So, if I remember correctly, I think once you can start making orbs and poison arrows, there should be quite a few mushrooms over here somewhere. I can't remember exactly where they are though. This peninsula here has got a couple spots along the sand. Of course, there's crocodiles everywhere also, so what I just did there was made sure all my water skins were filled up. Also, I never have a problem, usually along the river here, everyone calls it the Noob River. I don't have a problem, you know, walking into people's places, seeing what they got going on here. Like here, I can, complete a feat. There you go, I stored something. Alright. Okay. Oh boy. There's somebody. I could never really figure why people would base up right here on the Noob River. There's not really any good access to this area. I guess it keeps you away from the obelisks so that people can't pour it in real quick and attack you, but you know, it's kind of funny that you would say that. Are you talking about what they call Yoshi Island right here? Or wait, where'd you say? J5. Yeah, Yoshi Island. They call it Yoshi Island. I did the same thing. I didn't really make a city, but I had an annoyingly large wall with thralls all over it. Of course, that was back when you could have unlimited arrows. All you had to do was give all your thralls one arrow and they would they would fire away forever. That's probably good they got rid of that though, because the poison arrows were bad news if you had never had to put more on them. But yeah, it was it's quite a task, especially like I was talking about earlier as a solo player, collecting the materials you need to make any type of large base, which is why I've become kind of fond of the jungle ruins, because there's usually some decent pre-made structures out there you can use to your advantage. Also, well, we'll get to it later, but there's a cave, which once I can beat one of the giant snakes, we'll go to the cave. That's usually, I'll put like a vault in there and put up 10 or 12 walls in front of it. So I guess anyone could get to it if they want to. That's usually my goal, though, as a solo player. I don't expect to be able to, you know, fight people off or keep them from destroying my base or damaging some of my stuff. Usually my main goal is to make it so costly that, you know, at least I kind of stuck it to them. And of course there's also the factor of finding nice hidden places that no one's going to bother looking, which I've done and I've tried, but pretty much all the hidden places have been found now. Everyone knows where they're at. And most of any place else you can go, like up on a mountainside, all that, it's just, it's not feasible. You spend half your time trying to climb up there with all of your materials, and I don't know, it just seems like a waste of time to me. So I'd rather hunker down, put up a lot of walls, make it costly. Now, usually what I've found is that if I put up enough foundations, they might break through some of them, but they usually never bring enough to actually make it all the way in. I see, look at someone's setting up on Rot Branch Island. Now, this is one of those things that comes down to morality, I guess. Here's a bunch of fish traps. Now, these guys are going to know if I've been taking all their stuff. They're going to be able to see it in the event log. They might be mad enough about it to attack me. I'm not really ready for that, so I'm going to leave them be for now. I kind of don't like seeing all these people heading out toward the jungle, because it means that the odds are my favorite spot's going to be took, but hey, we'll find out, I suppose. Speaking of which, I should probably drop a bed here shortly, because I haven't done it in a while. I have to get off of their property first, though. See, I don't know if this is a bug or not, but it seems like lately it's become harder and harder to lay down bedrolls. Like, I don't know, the game just wants to give you grief about where you put them. Golly, there's a lot of people building up out here. That's phenomenal. I wasn't paying attention to what I'm doing, so I'm going the complete wrong way. So now we gotta head south. Jiminy Christmas. Nope, I don't want to fight him. He's got them eyes. Oh yeah, buddy. That shit. And my phone's ringing. Hello?
What are you doing?
I'm playing video games. Why are you on the phone, man?
Man, 'cause I miss you. What the fuck?
I know. I love you too.
I'm blew out from these fucking meds they got me on, too. Let me tell you what, I'm lethargic as fuck. I don't like it.
They got you all zonked out, do they?
Yeah, dude, I do not like the way it
Okay, sorry about that. I had to take that phone call. I mean, I guess I didn't have to, but, you know. She's my friend, and she's sitting in... I don't know. She's locked up, for the most part. But as I was telling her while I was on the phone, I gotta pee like crazy, so hopefully I can get up here to where I'm going. And I'm sure it won't be any surprise to anybody that ends up either watching this in the future or anyone that's watching it right now. But anyway, the reason I like to post up here is you got a nice build area. It's flat. You can fit a few small thrall wheels in it, and you can also, once you upgrade, you can fit a larger thrall wheel in it. And oh, it looks open. I don't see any walls up. So anyway, you can fit a larger thrall wheel in it once you get there. It doesn't take a whole lot of materials to close it in. It's closer to the ground than I like. There's some places you could go that aren't as close to the ground, but those places aren't as close to a thrall camp as this place. And this place you can get pretty much every tier 4 thrall you would ever need. They're all Lemurian, so you're not going to get like any, you know, Sumerian armors, obviously, but I don't know why people wouldn't start out right here, because this is, I suppose if it was taken they would, but you know, this is just, in my very humble opinion, this is like one of the best starting points. You know, people tell you go to Super Meru, you can get a lot of tier 4 thralls there too, but the problem there is that they're all high level, and all tier 4 thralls add the same benefits, whether they're high level or low level. So I don't really see the point in going there and getting killed over and over again just to get some, you know, decent thralls. Now, given we're probably going to end up traveling over that way once we get to the point where we want to get some decent fighter thralls to take into dungeons with us. Oh, look at that. Phenomenal. Nothing. Okay, so there's a bedroll there. We're going to have to destroy the bedroll. But that won't take long. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to wall this whole place in. I'm going to use the method, which I don't know if they're ever going to really put a stop to it. It's foundation stacking. I'm probably not going to go too deep with it here because we're just going to be using sandstone. I'll probably put up 2 or 3 layers once we, I'll probably upgrade to stone brick just to give everyone an idea of what we're doing. And then from there we'll upgrade it all to, I don't really want to head north yet, but we'll probably go to black ice, or we might just do the reinforced stone. But so anyway, so you can fit a wheel of pain in here, or a few small ones, or a greater wheel of pain will fit in there also. You can fit an altar up top. Now there is a Derketo priest right over there that spawns. There's actually a couple of them. So, and you can learn the Derketo religion over there, which, you know, you'll get the I can't remember what it's called exactly. It's basically the stamina potion that gives you extra stamina. But I like to go with the set altar. I think that having the poison arrows and being able to craft the poison antidotes is more important. So All you have to do is you can go from right here in this thrall camp, or in your base, over to here, and you will have access to all these thralls. Now again, the fighter thralls and the archers aren't that great, but you can get every tier 4 crafting thrall you could ever want in here. There you got armors, and these guys all have a chance of spawning as named thralls. You've got your cook, you've got an armorer who, if it was tier 4, it would be Fia. Oop, I got me some bleed. Now what I should do is go up here. Lay out a bedroll right quick, eh? Because I am bleeding. But anyway, so you got your cook, you got your armor. Up top there, you're gonna have dancers and another cook, I believe, maybe a woodworker. And then there's 2 kind of plateaus over here with campfires, and you can get taskmasters, you can get alchemists, Skronka the Stinky, I can't remember what her name is, but you can, every type of tier 4 thrall you would ever need, you can get in this thrall camp. It's too easy for me to not want to take full advantage of it. Like I say, and at this point, we aren't really needing a lot of fighter thralls. Personally, I'd rather keep a relatively low profile. I don't want everyone knowing that I don't want them walking by and getting attacked by my archers and this and that. I'd rather just keep it quiet. No, there's the armor. Take that. And the other nice thing, these guys also drop Lemurian armor, which is, you know, at this point I'm not going to be able to make armor that great, so having some medium armor to slap on when I have to go out and knock them out is phenomenal. Yeah, like I was saying, I'll probably set up a base, a small thrall pit over near Sepamuru. I don't actually like going into the city. What I like to do, I like to use the if you can find the Relic Hunter Slave Takers, there's a nice camp that has 1 armor and usually anywhere from 1 to 3 tier 3 slave takers, which all have, like, I think 5,125 HP once they're broken. Okay, anyway, I'm hanging on this tree. I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. But yeah, the again, as a solo player, and I probably should change my build up more often, but I just can't bring myself to have to reset everything, and I like to run encumbrance, and once I get to the point that I want to go into the dungeons, I'll make a point of getting myself a thrall that can actually withstand some beating and let them do all the heavy lifting for me when it comes to like world bosses and dungeons and whatnot. Because the truth is, my skills as a fighter in this game aren't top notch. I'm more of a pacifist usually. I'd rather try to work it out with everybody, keep the peace. And again, that kind of works out in this playthrough because we're going to try to get out of here. Breathing potions. Okay. Dang it. Huh. Meh. Okay, so now we're going to start the long and arduous process of collecting enough materials to maybe shut this place in. I'll have to warn you, once I start actually doing it, it's going to get pretty boring. The whole setup for, I don't know if I mentioned this, Old Craig, the YouTuber Old Craig, it's all his design. The dude's like like an engineer when it comes to building this game. I don't know where he came up with some of his methods. They're pretty common sense, but they're when you see the way he does it, it's pretty genius. Put this in here. There, drop that. Wood. Yeah, eventually, I'd actually just gotten to the point where, on the other server, 3524, I'd set out and got a nice full set of the, what is it, the Godbreaker armor out of the War Maker's, dungeon. And that stuff is, I mean, even with a thrall that only has 5100 HP, that armor makes a ton of difference. They can sit there and just poke away at pretty much any boss they want to. Given I'm usually shooting a bunch of healing arrows at them also. So. Okay. Of course, now I'm encumbered. So we are gonna make... Golly. I'd forgotten how hard it is starting out. I got nothing. Okay, now, for me, the hardest part of this whole process is getting the first foundation pretty much. Maybe I'm too much of a perfectionist. I want it dead center, though. Everything lines up just right if you get it dead center. So, again, like I say, for me, that's the hardest part of the whole thing. Not yet. Put you in there. You. Definitely you. So what you want to do is you want to get this first foundation pretty much lined up dead center with this. These 4 stones. And once you do that, it'll line up. You can have your door right here, and then you can just shut off the rest of the stuff. I suppose that if you wanted access to be somewhat harder, you could put the door either on this side or maybe even over here. It's kind of a lot more of a fiasco when you're trying to get your thralls around here, though. I think it's easier just to run straight through there with them. So anyway, here we go. I usually like to raise it up a bit so I can get a good idea of what I'm doing, and I like it to be up high enough that it is going to line up pretty much dead center with that. So see how well I can do. Looks like it's wanting to snap to something, which I don't really like, but am I even in the right spot? I wasn't. Let's see how we did. Meh. I don't really like that. Nah. You know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty tolerable. Let's see. No. That's better. I think that's good. Possibly. It might be too far this way, but... No. I guess I can live with that. I don't want to sit... I don't want to sit here and spend... too much time See, what I don't like is it looks to me like maybe it's not squared up proper. It looks... It's pretty good, it's just... It's not... No, you know what? I'm not happy with it. Now, I may seem like I'm being too finicky, but here's the thing, is that you can see there's like this gap here, and if I don't get it set up just proper, my fence foundations aren't going to line up. So I think it's centered enough here. I just need to bring it back. I need to take it forward a bit, that's all. Yeah, he hasn't come out with too many videos in the past, what, couple weeks or so? Past week, I don't know. But yeah, his stuff is, if you watch him build, he talks about how to avoid, basically like I was saying, I pretty much live by his rule of make it expensive for them to raid you. Make it so that they have to spend more resources raiding you than you do protecting yourself. Most of the time people won't have enough. Plain and simple. Oh Jesus, that's terrible. Most of the time people won't have enough resources to make it worth their while to come at you. My roommate and friend Justin typically tells me that I have to play more offensively, but I disagree. I'll play as defensive as I like. All the time. You know what, I think that's about as good as I can get it. The way it's wanting to move, I'm not going to be able to get it any better, I don't think. Assuming it's relatively straight. We'll know in a second. It's, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm quite a bit happier with that. I didn't think it would be that much better, but apparently it looks like it might be just about as perfect as I can get it. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. I know I should probably... Oop, that's exciting. I should probably be doing more like crafting benches and so on and so forth. The thing is, though, I could make better tools, but at this point, I I can't carry that much, so it would just be more back and forth more often, and I'd be wasting iron to repair them. So I'm just gonna keep running with stone for now. Once I get some walls up, and a few dozen doors, I'll start putting down some crafting benches. Also, once once I start feeling confident enough, there's a world boss right there, and a chest right there. We can maybe start farming some decent weapons. Get us a halfway decent thrall, and get us a decent thrall, and we can maybe go get the I can't remember the name of the helmet now. Spider Boss has it. It'll repair all of your legendary weapons without needing legendary repair kits. Why can't I remember the name? Anyway. Also, handy tip, if you have the helmet and you equip one of your thralls with it, and sit there and just continuously beat them, as long as they pull that weapon out while you're beating up on them, it'll be repairing the weapon. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's not how it's intended to work. Luckily, I don't think too many people are watching. If you give me 1 second, I can look it up and tell you real quick. It's got, the ability on it is called Karmic. I just can't remember the name of the helmet. Basically what it does is for every 6 damage you take, it repairs your either weapon, tool, whatever's in your hand. It'll repair it for, I think, 3 points of, well, it'll repair it for 3 points. Also, the Godbreaker boots have the same ability on them. So, like with my Thrall on the other server, what I'll do is I'll give her my weapons that are broke down and let her use them for a while and get beat up on, and by the time I take them back from her, they're completely repaired. Ah, there it is. The Nemedian helmet. Nemedian with an N. And you get it from the giant spider in Skittering Cavern. There you go. Easy peasy. Just take your your beefy bearer thrall in there and get you that helmet. Or like I say, if you run the god or the Warmaker's dungeon a couple times, get enough, well, more than a couple times. It takes quite a bit of armor fragments or armor scraps, whatever they're called, to finally get around to crafting the full Godbreaker armor set. But once you do, it's the boots have the same karmic ability on them. Yeah, it's a lot less costly than, you know, having to run around constantly looking for legendary repair kits, which I get quite a few of the legendary armor repair kits, but it seems like I get hardly any of the actual, like, legendary weapon repair kits or legendary tool repair kits. Okay. I can't see you. Ah. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but they, at least for the time being, they've turned off the ability to use gods right now, so it seemed like a perfect time to do a new start, because just in case someone felt like just completely wiping something I built out, that's going to take them a little bit more effort. Well, and the helmet will at least save you a little bit of time when it comes to the repair kits. more weight than I have to. Really, the only shortcoming I've found with this area is there isn't necessarily the most stone. It seems like I end up wandering around quite a bit looking for stone nodes that I haven't already gotten at. And then there's the gorillas to deal with, which, you know, I don't know, in a few more levels will be nice because they drop lots of hide, and I'll be able to, you know, start making some decent armor, working on getting some tar. By then we should have some decent crafting thralls. I'll be able to start making some fire steel and so on and so forth. Maybe in some hardened steel, get some good tools going, but till then it can be somewhat rough. Also, on a side note, if we go over this way, despite there being some angry, what are they? Gorilla men. There is right out there. You can see the mast of it sticking up. There's a sunken ship there with 3 chests that are pretty much guaranteed silver and gold, which again, it's not, you know, we're not going to be dealing with alchemical base a lot yet, but once we are, we'll have saved up quite a bit of gold dust, hopefully, and we can start making the good armor, the real good armor. Maybe get us some good potions. Of course, by that point we're going to start thinking about moving. Get us a better base. Yes, I typically, how it'll work is I will have max encumbrance. I'll probably be running around in full medium armor, which adds, I think, it might only add like 9 or 5 encumbrance, but like I was just talking about the alchemical base, once I can start making some epic, or maybe it's just the flawless. Once I get a decent armor and start making some flawless armor, I can make some flawless medium armor. That'll give me plus 9 encumbrance. So that'll be 9 less, or, you know, that'll be quite a few points that I can put into something else. But pretty much for me, it's essential if I want to be able to build halfway quick, I'm going to need to be able to run even when I'm over encumbered. I'm going to need to be able to move and get through stuff. There's also always the option of breaking a bearer thrall, which I can gain, what, 5 encumbrance from the backpack. But, you know, and this is just for me personally, I don't like running with the backpack. It makes me really visible to other people, and it makes it kind of hard for me to see in third person, which is about the only way I really like to play, so. Yeah, arrows. He's dead. Give me a full set of armor. Ooh. And again, I know most people aren't gonna agree with running full encumbrance, and it's probably dumb, but it's, you know, I'm usually running with quite a bit of crap on me, and I mean, I guess the truth is that if it comes down to it, I want to be able to get away before I get killed by somebody else. I'd rather still be able to run, even though I'll run out of stamina quite a bit quicker. You see, if I was smart, I'd be letting this armor stay alive so that I could maybe knock him out and put him on a wheel, but I'm not really interested in anything that's not tier 4 right off the get. Hopefully, I'll find a tier 4 taskmaster relatively quickly, and that'll expedite things for the most part. But, you know, more often than not, that's not going to happen. It's all a matter of luck, I suppose. But yeah, usually if you're going to get a tier 4 taskmaster, they're going to be, or any taskmaster for that matter, they're going to be up on this plateau. Let's see who's setting up here right now. Darketo Priest. There you go. You see there's a taskmaster. Of course, he's only tier 1, so we'll make him dead. Now, again, yeah, as you said earlier, they're not game-breaking bugs, but this is one that, like, really annoys me. Is that you kill somebody and then their body is just missing. And now I have to take the time to walk around and maybe find it. Unless I just forgot where I made him dead at. Oh well. I don't remember there being jungle cats out here. Unless these are actually somebody else's... Yep, these are somebody else's pets. So, that means that at some point, hopefully not still, there's been somebody kind of basing up out here. It could be, because there's two identical towers out here at the docks. Or at the bay, whatever you want to call it. There's that tower, and then right across from it, there's another one. Now, Old Craig, when he shows his build method, he's showing it in the far one you see there. You know, that's nice, but again, for the time being, I like to be kind of more tucked away over here. In my opinion, that one has some shortcomings that this one doesn't. There's also a phenomenal one, which might be where I move to once we start thinking about using some tier 3 stuff. There's an amazing one just over off the river. I can't remember what it's called. It's like River Watcher, Watcher of the Way. But it's, you know, it's up off the ground. Once you're kind of dug in there, there's not really much anyone can do about it, so long as you do it right. And again, old Craig's video shows methods for building your elevators, pretty much making it cost as much as possible for... Oh, there's somebody's throne. Costing as much as possible for anybody to come up in there. Now, I don't see any buildings, but I do see somebody's thrall standing right there. Hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, that's usually what I end up having to do, especially if it's... I mean, I guess they're never carrying anything so important that I absolutely need to find their body, but yeah, usually if you walk out of render range and come back, and I don't know if... I haven't seen this happen in quite a while for me. I think they've fixed it pretty well because so many people were getting irritated by it, but it would actually happen to your own body sometimes. If you died, then you run all the way back to where you should be, and you're not there, especially in the water. You know... Again, I go encumbrance. I'm usually carrying far more stuff with me than I should be, and if I die, I want to be able to find my body. Yeah, I don't know why people have so much of a problem with this game. I mean, I played Ark for a short while, and in my opinion, just looking at this game, it's I don't know. It's like a million times better in my head. I wasn't a big fan of like Conan the Barbarian, but part of it could be this was really one of the first survival games I ever picked up and started playing. But this game is, at least in my opinion, pretty phenomenal. And on top of which, if you're playing on PlayStation, they gave it away for free, what, 2-3 months ago? Probably about 3 months ago, man. The servers were packed. I couldn't even I almost lost everything to decay because I couldn't even log on to my own server. Shoot, man, sometimes, yeah, usually I think they'll go into scout mode, which if you can get back there quick enough is good. But I've had it happen where, I don't know if I didn't get back in time, but they already started heading home, so then I didn't have a clue where I was at. I eventually did get myself, I ended up walking around with a hatchet, just swinging at the ground until I saw blood, and then kept swinging, and eventually a bag popped up, you know, once I'd beaten the life out of myself enough, I guess. What's going on here, man? I'm completely over encumbered. This is freaking wood, of course. And also my good friend who goes by just T, the letter T, also showed me this. I guess it's his method for when he gets over encumbered. He just rolls everywhere. It's quite a bit quicker than walking super slow, but again, I'd rather just be able to do what I want to do. So it may be kind of hard to figure out what I'm doing right now, but I'm pretty much trying to craft as much of the stuff as I can that I'm gonna need for setting up the stacked fence foundations. Which again, I don't know. I know they fixed it once. I never actually saw his old method for it, but the new method works fine. And if you absolutely have to, I suppose you can double down. But I don't know. I think it works out great. But we are going to need a lot of fence foundations, regular foundations, and wedge foundations. The wedge foundations are used in a kind of, I don't know, it's outside the box thinking on his part. They're used for spacing so that you can actually, you know, stack the fence foundations. Which, like I say, I'm thoroughly impressed by what he's done. Of course, like I was saying, once we get the walls up, we'll build us we'll get a furnace going. We will, I think, now I can't remember. I'm pretty sure there's some coal nodes around here, which, I don't know. Now that you can stack so much fuel, you know, coal and even wood to an extent has become viable. You don't really need, it used to be oil, always oil. You know, dry wood was a pain in the butt to make. fish were cheap and easy to come by, but you had to be near water. And now really the only thing that fish are great for is ichor, in my opinion. But even that, like where I'm camped up now, there's going to be quite a few spiders and the giant lizards. I'm not sure if they're called salamanders or what they're called, but they are a terrific source. You were talking about being over there on Yoshi Island, so you know. Those giant lizards over there are a great source of ichor. Especially if you don't want to have like a big obvious fish farm sitting out. Okay, so we've got our center foundation set up. We are going to start taking some of our fence foundations, see if we can't give everyone a good idea of what we're going to be doing. Let's see, put you here, you there. Oh, phenomenal. Of course, I'm still over encumbered, but I can get rid of some of this stuff. Well, I think like even brimstone and iron have like the iron stone you can carry 1,000 per stack now. The I know iron bars I can't. Is it? Do they stack up to 1,000? Maybe it's only 500. It's quite a bit. Black ice is 500. I know that. I'm not sure about star metal, but it's all oh no, it's pretty stinking good in my opinion. Okay, so what we're gonna do, this is just to get our spacing. We're gonna come out here with the fence foundations, and then we are gonna get, I gotta think about what I'm doing here for a minute. We're going to take this, put that there, and we'll come off the edge with another fence foundation. You know, I probably should have gone further with it, but oh well. That's how we're going to roll. So, what I want to do, I want to come out here like so, and then I am going to, see, I'm doing this all wrong. Oh, old Craig, you'd be so upset with me. Why can't I get my head on straight? Okay. So, we want to get our fence foundations coming out like so. And we're going to take our wedge foundations, hook them up like that, and like that. And as you can see from where the other foundation was, we've got just a little more space there. So then you put another foundation here. Oh, that's too low. And this is going to take a little longer because I don't have all my encumbrance. I can't carry around as much crap as I'd like to all the time. And then you put another square foundation in, put another fence foundation over here, and then you go boom, get rid of that, get rid of this, come back with your wedge foundations, and now you've got just enough room to come off that wedge here and run another one right through there. So essentially this is going to be our template for the whole, any open areas. We're going to run it like that, and then what I like to do is come off the other side now, like so, and go the opposite direction with them. You there, put you there. I gotta get rid of this thing. That one right there. It's not gonna let me. And there you go. You got yourself some stacked foundations. Now I haven't found any really good way. I've only found one halfway decent way using stairs and pillars and floors to space it out so you can get one more right in between there, but according to old Craig, packing them in that tight does make it harder to open up your doors. So, you know, I guess that's neither here nor there, but hey, whatever. Okay, so now we are going to put him there, run one perpendicular to it. You know what? That is not at all what I wanted to do. I'll run one clear through like so. Run it perpendicular. And then we can start breaking all these things down here. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. We'll put another square foundation in here. You'll see why in a bit. I'm trying to remember now. Let's see. I don't think I'm able to stack on top of them once they are. Gonna be enough room. Yeah, just enough room. Okay. So now we gotta kind of start using some imaginary guesswork. We're going to get rid of this foundation here, get rid of this one here, because we already built off of it. We're going to build off the next one. We're going to build all the way through with it. And then we're going to imagine that if it's not here or there, it's clipped onto the end of it, which is what I'm guessing just happened. That, get rid of this, put one there, put one there. Again, we don't want to go to this, where it snaps on here, you want to go just, let's see, you want to go just past that. I'm guessing it's where I want it. There's no real good way of knowing. I guess I can go out here and look, make sure it's not coming out the other side. Which apparently it's not. You can really the best way to tell though is once you get up top here, if you can snap your foundations inside of this piece of this foundation like so, then you know that you got them all in the right places. So then all we gotta do is get rid of that, put one right there, and one right there, and rock and roll. is your stacked foundations for your entryway. Hey, hey. Alright. I suppose that we can go to the trouble of putting these ones up. Although, you know what? I'm not gonna. It's pointless because we're dealing with like sandstone here, and odds are someone's gonna see the sandstone and not even bother coming in. Well, they might. I don't know. Of course, I'm allowed now. One thing I have noticed when you're putting in foundations is that sometimes for some reason, they'll float above each other, which I, for the life of me, can't understand, but it's just some, I don't know, flaw with the way the game works, I suppose. I'll make us a doorway. So make us 4 doorways, eh? And do we have enough? Make with the twine. Oh, jeez. One more door. Now again, you know, we're using sandstone, so this is pretty much defensively. This is pretty much pointless, because anyone, I guess if they wanted to, could come along with a pickaxe and break it down. But this is nice to have this stuff all set up, because then when we do actually start making, like, once we get better materials, once we start actually making tier 2 and tier 3 walls and fence foundations, all this stuff is going to be able to just be snapped right into place. Right now we don't have a lot to lose, but I'd hate to have to open up all the walls to my base to be able to start putting up better materials, something to give me some more defense. Because you never really know who's going to just happen along while you're trying to get stuff done. And then you're leaving yourself almost entirely exposed. Buddy, someone's getting friendly. That's the other nice thing about being up here, is that none of the thralls can follow you. Unless, of course, you have a rope tied to them and you're dragging them. Okay. So that's pretty much the basis of what it's going to look like. I guess typically I probably, yeah, if I'd been somewhat smart, I'd have put the walls up ahead of time like I was supposed to. You can put a ceiling in here, but because of the way this door frame is, it's not really necessary. And then you just take your doors and try to make sure they're all facing the same way. Now, I found that a lot of times it'll give me some grief to get the doors to snap. I think it's like the same thing as when you're dealing with, getting certain foundations to snap where you want them to. So you gotta kind of play with it a bit. There's that one. Of course, this last one, I gotta switch back to this and go back to my door, and there you go. And there's your kind of ghetto-ass front door. I guess you can put some stairs up there if you want. And as old Craig pointed out, trying to go through these things in third person is not always the easiest, and that's really where the problem with the fifth door frame here would come in, is that those doors would just be smushed too close together. Getting through it in third person is almost impossible. And from here you can pretty much build You know, like I say, you can build some stairs. I'd suggest building them. You know, I don't know if you can really build them to the side that well, but anyway. What's that fella doing way out here? Ah. Perfect. These dumb deer, I don't know why they're so strong. Oh well. Well, ain't that... That must be the stop point. So it's one thing I may have forgot to mention about this this location. There is a no-build zone that bumps right into, I believe, this corner. It must be, but I mean, I got all this in there. Let me build right here. No. No. So we can essentially get it all done except for that last flippin' layer, which is like super annoying to me, but hey, what can you do? We're not gonna be here permanently, I don't think. Anyway, like I say, I've got places that I would rather be, but for now, it's so disappointing. Suppose that for anybody watching this now, they know the one weak spot. This is what I was saying in the beginning, is if you don't get your spacing just right, this one is going to end up sticking out just too far to catch. So it's kind of imperative that you get it like pretty dead center, at least this first foundation here. Anyway, hopefully y'all are patient. I'm gonna go take a smoke break, I think. Hopefully there's no one that's gonna end up rolling up in here and killing me. Not that I really have much to take at this point. Golly. Of course, until we get some ceilings, I get no shelter, so maybe I'll starve. Okay, I guess we're back at it. This is, man, being this structured is kind of boring. I'd usually get sidetracked and be doing other stuff, but instead I have to go get more stone. I can never seem to figure out the algorithm or whatever it is that they use to decide when the animals want to become hostile. Yeah, I know, you're angry, okay. Oh, phenomenal. Ooh. I'm gonna die. Yep, yep. Okay, dude, peace out. Phenomenal. Jeez, Lou. appears though I'm going to starve now. So I guess I can go back to my Darfari roots. Give me some of that meat, buddy. gotta be kidding me. suppose that is a project for another day, maybe early tomorrow morning. Okay then. We're gonna have to move this a half square that way. Peace out.